You are watching a new series on Tactical Enlightenment called Illuminated Chaos, in which we sample and explore some of the amazing mods that are out there for Bannerlord. Hopefully these chaotic battles inspire in you a desire to see Bannerlord in a different light and continue to fight in your own world. Alright friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. We continue our Illuminated Chaos series in which we're exploring the effects of different mods. In this case, we're really focused on the reinforcement mod. This reinforcement process, reinforcement system, it potentially has other units outside the battle attack. So in this case, this is a side branch from the campaign. I'm just sort of exploring these different mods, exploring the different effects. We've got an allied army and there's lots of enemy armies. And of course, we have our stacked army. But we're going to see if and how many of these armies enter the battle and what kind of chaos ensues because of that. Now I have a good sized force here. It's a pretty stacked army, but there's a lot of forces here. Just the Northern Empire force here looks like it's going to be close to 3,000. So we're going to enter this battle. We're going to see how many of these different forces engage in the battle and see how it sort of affects things, if we can notice anything other than just an onslaught of enemies. As you can see, we're outnumbered almost 4-1, and we'll use normal player damage for this series. I do have the RTS mod loaded here, and of course, if my character gets dropped, I'll probably be using that just to continue the battle, so it's not just chaos. Even though that's what I want sort of controlled, interesting chaos, not just absolute random chaos. This interesting map. I've done a Killbox on this map before, Killbox and a funnel. Both of these tactics require landscape, to participate. On the left side up there on that hill is a nice spot for a Killbox. I've got to reassign some captains here for some reason. They lost their captain spot here. But I think we're going to try a Killbox on this left side here. I'm a little bit concerned about how far back it set us from there. We're a long ways away. We're a long ways away from the enemy, but also a long ways away from this location. But we're going to come up here and enact the Killbox because I think with our hugely outnumbered situation, it's our best chance to win this battle. Yeah, in fact, this is exactly where I've done it before. I recognize this map. The process of a Killbox is effectively creating a small area, not even a small area, a medium-sized area where the enemy is sort of funneled in, attacked, shot from different sides. Whoops, that was an accident. They're all now charging. All these guys are getting excited. You basically attack the enemy on at least 2 or 3 sides. Ideally, you bring cavalry as well back to attack the enemy, and then between the archer fire, javelin fire at the beginning of the fight, and then the onslaught of being attacked by 4 or 5 different units at the same time, the enemy basically gets vaporized. It's a difficult tactic to pull off. There's some coordination involved. Of course, there's setup involved, and you have to have the right battlefield for it. I have an entire video that's going to be dedicated. I'm going to probably call it something like the Killbox A through Z, but the idea behind it will be essentially showing people the ins and outs of this Killbox process, because I think it's one of the most devastating tactics you can use in Bannerlord, especially if you're good at commanding all 8 units, you have a good feel for the battlefield, and you have ranged units. That's another critical component of it. Alright, so I've got a cav screen on both flanks here. The second is on the left, up there on that high ground. The third is on the right. And then I've got these are my 5th archers, 8th archers back here. So look at these people joining the battle too. Gavin's party joined the battle. Ximena joined the battle. So some armies are joining. In fact, it looks like most are joining. Those are horse archers. 200 horse archers. But not all of them. Like I see some armies are not joining this battle for some reason. So we were outnumbered before, and now we're probably like ridiculously outnumbered. I mean, it was already bad. It was like 4-1. But these cav screens are supposed to do exactly what they're doing right here. They basically slow down enemy cav. In this case, the horse archers, it'll be even more beneficial. I didn't know they were going to have that many horse archers, but it'll be hugely beneficial to have that shield wall up there, because those horse archers, unfortunately the AI, they generally approach from the same direction every time, and horse archers want to circle you on your left flank. Well, they don't have a flank, right? Our guys are pressed up against the mountain there in a big iron wall of horse and steel, and so the enemy has no way to get around to us. That's going to pay dividends for sure. The other advantage of a Killbox is that their archers will be largely out of this fight. Because of those two cav lines, their archers are not going to approach and be shooting at our units here while we destroy their infantry. Now it's curious, I don't see their infantry yet, but it's conceivable that they were just such a far distance away. We started a long ways away at the beginning of the battle, like almost 800 units, that they're literally still running this direction. It's a shame that they're going to die exhausted, because they're definitely all going to die. I mean, I've done this tactic here before. I don't care how many they have. They're going to get eviscerated. Here, we got some guys trickling through here. We've got probably 60 Battanian Fiend Champs, and we also have a lot of nasty skirmishers. So Fiend Champs are up there on the wall side. Here comes their infantry. All right, so the main idea behind this, of course, besides really softening them with all this ammunition fire before they even get here, is we're going to attack them on 3 sides. This is the 1st, 6th, 2nd, 3rd, and 8th Corps all attacking this infantry at the same time. And all of that's happening while they're still being shot by these archers. And this is tough fucking infantry, right? These are legionnaires. These are all elite infantry. And look at the death spam. There's one guy who died. I'm just kind of glancing up there while I slice through their troops. There's another guy. But it's almost all enemies just being vaporized here by this combined assault. Now we've charged with our 5th Archers, which is Battanian Fiend Champs, right? So we have our own shock troops. And the guys are getting slammed in the back by my axe. They're still getting shot. You can still see the bolts flying through here, killing guys. And it's a total massacre for the enemy. Oh shit, almost got fucked up right there. This horse is just sitting here. I think their cavalry is like in shock, like this is their Normandy, because some of their cav look like they're just staring at the tree. Look at this guy. Here, catch them. I'll put you out of your misery. A little PTSD, maybe the best thing for you is just to have your lights turned out. Now that flurry of orders here, that's just, I do that like eating breakfast. It's just, I've reset my lines so many different times in battles like this that I can do it the same way that you send your email. You know, and people often ask, like, or I was actually accused, someone had said that I was using a bot or something, some mod or something to control my units so quickly. And I guess I'll take that as a compliment, because I'm definitely not using something like that. First, I'm like 50 years old, so I'm not nearly sophisticated enough to understand how to do something like that. But second, it's just simply the process. I've played the game a lot. What are these guys doing? They're just standing over here. More PTS guys here. All right, well, we get our javelin practice on. Right in the ear hole. Well, how I describe how I'm ordering my units around is very, very similar to how you write your email, right? And you've written your email a lot. Well, I've commanded my units now in something like 1,000 battles, right? I've played this game way too much the last 2 years. You know, I'm really enjoying it. I'm a big fan of war history, and I now move my units around almost kind of like second nature, right? Especially this army group that I've been fighting in this campaign for months. And you know, so I do make mistakes, of course, and sometimes I finger fumble stuff. But let me ask you something. When you type your email, how many times do you mistype it, right? Like, this is, it's second nature for me now. I promise you folks, I'm not using some kind of bot to move my units around. I'm sure some of you out there are snickering too, because you're very capable of moving your units around. There's always somebody who they just started playing, or they've been playing for a little while, and they just it's not easy for them, and they assume because they can't do it, you're just cheating. It's unfortunate, but that's part of life. I got a new mouse, and I've regained my sniping skills here. If you've noticed, I've had some real issues with my javelin throws lately, but a new mouse, and we're right as rain here. We're back to annihilating everything in sight. It feels good. For a while there, I kind of felt like age was getting to me, like I was washed up. I already told you I'm 50 years old. You know, way back in the day, like I would play video games and I was pretty dominant, but of course at some point, I guess, even with video games, us old-timers start to fucking fall behind you young kids. You just don't have the reflexes, don't have the eyesight, etc. So this is sort of a quasi-kill box here. Because the enemy's coming in sort of piecemeal, I haven't felt the need to combine the full kill box tactic here. Frankly, if the enemy doesn't come in all together, a kill box doesn't work very well, right? The whole idea with the kill box is you want to get all of the enemies sort of in the trap and then spring the trap. Well, if they trickle in, it doesn't work very well. Take this guy's javelin. We'll take his javelins from him. I see you, motherfucker. Camouflaged amongst your dead friends. We got some javelins now, but we're getting to the point. Oh, these are all archers. We're getting to the point we're going to have to pull back, but not right now. Not when we have juicy archers to charge. So these archers, they haven't been able to get up to us because of this ridge here. They are now desperate, and they're like charging to try to get line of sight, but they're right next to our troops. So we all out charge here, right? This is just... thank you very much. Thank you for getting killed situation here. We send the war dogs here. We charge violently, and all of these guys with fucking paper bags and their longbow are very quickly going to realize that they definitely barked on up the wrong tree here. Choose your analogy. I'm butchering mine. I'm trying to focus here. We're cutting some guys' arms off here, and in we go. We're going to wade in here. Shot in the back. I still got horse archers now. Because our cav line eventually dissolved, now their horse archers are starting to become an impact, and I'm going to start dealing with some of these guys. When you have this many horse archers and enemy heavy cav running through your units, if you ride a horse, some people never ride a horse, but if you do both, this is your cue to get back on your horse. Right, when the enemy's just steamrolling your units and fucking horse archers are harassing them, it's very valuable if you as the commander, especially if your units already have orders that they're following, can get on a horse and kill 15 or 20 of these horse archers, right? Even if you diminish them by a fifth or a sixth yourself, that's hugely valuable. Of course, I find that a fast javelin with about maybe 85 speed, ballpark, not javelin, I beg your pardon, a fast slashing polearm of about 85 speed is optimal, and I want length to be about 160, 170. People frequently ask me, you know, what the best speed is. I'm pulling our units back here too, by the way. I'll tell you why in a second when we finish this thought on javelins. So you want your javelin, of course, to be able to reach guys, but if it's too long, you can build a javelin that's like 300 with the custom weapons, and I think there's a handful of custom javelins that'll drop, you know, that come from loot. Most players don't craft. If you're just collecting loot, I don't think you want a javelin anything longer than about 180, 200 in length. The javelins that are like 230, 250 or something, War Razor I think comes to mind. It's nice, it's really long, but because of that, when you're close to the enemy, you miss the sweet spot, if that makes sense. You want, in my opinion, the optimal javelin is fast enough to kill a lot of guys quick, and in the neighborhood of 160 to 170 length. Now, why am I pulling my units back here? We were killing the enemy. There's a ridge here that I saw when we were approaching. I want to use this ridge as a peekaboo ridge. The enemy's going to be flooding us with archers soon, and I want to get our units over this ridge so they can't get line of sight, right? I want their archers to have to approach us. I'm also pulling back because our reinforcements, unfortunately, how the game works is it puts your reinforcements in where you started the battle, and it's way back there. You can see the archers and reinforcements coming in now. That means that it's going to take a while for our reinforcements to get to the battle and start impacting it. If you're really far away, you're basically fucked, because before you can even use your reinforcements, your current men are already fucking dead, right? And so you're in this like cycle where your troops are getting butchered because your reinforcements are so far away that they're ineffective. Gonna pull even further back over this ridge. Oh shit, infantry came out of nowhere. The enemy just charged us over this ridge. That's one of the negatives of ridges, of course, is you as the commander usually don't have as good a view. still, that was just a small amount. We butchered them. The screen is still all green. I mean, so far, this battle is a massacre. Going to continue to kite here. You can see the fucking tide of enemies is just pouring at us. As you kite, of course, if the enemy's right on you, you suffer losses. So the time to kite, the time to, look at this fucker coming in. This guy couch lancing. Catch that fucking javelin, or catch that polearm, motherfuckers. That's why I said you really want to kill those horse archers when you have the chance. Where the fuck was I? I think I was talking about the reinforcements. This line here, as you're pulling back, you're going to take losses, so you want to pull your units back after you've just sort of crushed an enemy wave. As a battlefield commander, you'll get sort of used to the ebb and flow of battles. The enemy typically comes in sort of waves. You know, there's a big heavy wave of men, and then there's a little bit of a break where there's just a few cavalry or trickling guys in. You don't want to pull your units back, of course, when you're in the heat of battle. You want to wait. These fucking heavy horse here stabbing our guys. You want to wait until the enemy is sort of pushed back for the time being. And that's when you want to fucking fall back. So we've got a beautiful infantry line here that's just going to charge the fuck out of these enemies. And I've got archers beautifully positioned as well. Getting fucking stabbed. I kind of regret doing normal player damage in such a ridiculously lopsided battle. In what's going to be a really long battle. I probably should have done like 50% player damage. There's still some purists out there that complain in the comments when I don't use normal player damage. Here we're actually charging with our archers, because if you can see their archers piled over that ridge trying to get a shot at us, and this is the advantage. All of our infantry now is supported by our ferocious archer corps, right? We've got Battanian Fiend Champs in there. There's like Imperial Sergeant crossbowmen in there, guys they're not bad at melee, right? These guys can swing a sword. The Battanian Fiend Champs, of course, are pretty nasty at melee. And in we go here as we fucking lay waste to the enemy. I'm moving our crossbow division forward in a wall. And they're acting as you've heard me talk about it before, they're like the offensive line for our shock troops. You don't want them getting shot in the face by a line of archers, right? If you've got guys leading with the shield wall, they're much more protected. Then they can sort of kill everything that the shield wall doesn't. The screen is going red, but I can't seem to find any enemies. It's weird. The enemy's kind of breaking through the center here. The slow decay of war. Our guys are finally wearing out. And the enemy still has good troops here. Elite Manavliton. These might be reinforcements. Again, that reinforcement mod, there's some strange effects to the power of the units in the battlefield. Like I've had... shit. I'm almost dropped. I've had battles at this stage where it seemed like they were recruits and peasants, and then the next thing you know, you're looking at Battanian Fiend Champs. My army just dissolved right there. They finally wore out. I need a fucking horse. I'm gonna get killed. Oh shit. Their whole force is charging me like that scene in Braveheart. Gotta get out of here. Unfortunately, that whole time I wasn't able to command these units. You know that you have to stand still unless you're on a horse to command units. It's very difficult to run and then tell units where to go. That time that cost us is valuable. Okay, so we've got a bunch of reinforcements pouring in here. Yeah, I see you, motherfucker. Coming for me. Fuck you. Trying to collect your bounty, killing the Jarl. Alright, we're going to set our archers up here in a big line and our infantry in a big line, because those are the only two units we have. This is another factor. I've heard there's a mod out there where you can sort of customize what units are in what division and stuff like that. That would be useful, but it also might be severely immersion breaking. If it takes you, like, if you have to, like, stop or pause the battle to move units around. I've already thought about getting rid of the pause. God damn it. I've thought about getting rid of the pause when you make orders, because it is strange that you could just, as a commander, decide, you know what, let's just turn this into the Matrix, slow things down incredibly, and you know, command our units. This guy's got a deep voice. He's like, "Yeah, into battle, men, go." Alright, we're sending this infantry up. We've got the crossbowmen spreading into a wide arc. I think I want to use the RTS, the free camera. know how to do this. I'm not very familiar with this, so just bear with me. As soon as I can get the overhead option. There we go. All right. I'm going to try to use this more. I apologize if it makes you seasick. I'm still getting used to the controls here. I've only done this for 2 or 3 battles. So you can see what I got going on here. I've got a nice big fat infantry line and a nice archer line behind him. But we're going to play around a little bit. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to force my line forward because I want these archers to be able to shoot anybody in the back that's sort of following the line. And then I think we're going to try some enfilade attacks here. An enfilade shooting and an enfilade charge. Sorry, I'm just looking for other positions that I can move my troops to. I'm also looking for reinforcements. Here you can really see the enemy cav charging through our fucking archers. Fucking assholes. I think this is our best option right here. It's too far away to really move anywhere. You can see all their fucking cavalry charging through, just spearing our guys. Still, our infantry line is like 3 men deep, and it's fucking people up. But you notice the archers can't really hit them. There's not a lot of depth from the archers. That's because our infantry is in the way. Well, what do you do about that, right? This is one of your options. You can shift your entire formation and your archers to a location where the archers can now provide enfilade fire on the enemy. Enfilade, that's just a fancy word. It's probably a French word for flank fire, right? For shooting the enemy on the side. Of course, they're focused on the infantry in front of them, and now you can see all these archers have a beautiful line of sight just to smoke anything that's visible there. Any of the enemy forces that are visible, they're going to get smoked. There's a lot of crossbowmen here, too, that are probably out of bolts. If they're not out of bolts soon, they will be. We're probably going to charge with them, and we'll try a little flanking charge. To make the enfilade worse here, I'm moving the infantry back. Again, hoping our units can shoot them in the back. Right? All of their archers, they have a nice clean shot on them. Of course, the enemy cav is just causing havoc here. So let's move our crossbowmen up and shield wall. Right, we're going to do a little flank attack here. So the infantry is holding this right flank, and these archers, these crossbowmen, they're not graded infantry, but it's still a flanking attack. The commands are giving me a hard time here. I'm trying to make them violently move into the enemy line there. I think my timing was off a little bit. My infantry line is kind of dissolving here. They also are slow. Archers charge, especially with shield wall, really slow. So my timing wasn't great there. But you see it's doing some major damage, right? We're still racking up some kills. I don't know if this is it or if I got more reinforcements coming. But this battle is over. I hate to break the suspense for anybody who's rooting these guys on. I don't know how many forces the enemy has. It seems never ending. We got some reinforcements here. 140. There's no way that's 140. Oh, you know, this is another bad function of the reinforcement system. I've got like 50 archers charging, right? You can see their Pavis shields in there, all the guys with the orange Pavis shield. The reinforcement system stuck all my archers that are coming in reinforcements into that same group. And so if I pull these archers back, like I just did, they get stabbed in the back and attacked. But if I don't do that, then all my archers are fucking charging into battle instead of shooting, right? So it's a bad, it's one of the unfortunate parts of the game. Now my other unit there, I'm putting it into a square because this is another thing that's really devastating. If you can get a compacted group of pretty tough forces into a square and have the enemy sort of focus on it, or a line form like this, your archers do mega damage, right? They're shooting the enemy on the side. It's enfilade fire. I've got a nice line of archers there. Is that reinforcements? I just had reinforcements pop up like in the middle of nowhere. I got some cav to charge into the battle here. We're going to be able to do some damage to this line here. We've got cav charging right now. These archers have beautiful enfilade fire, and the enemy's infatuated with that square, and they're not getting anywhere, right? That square is holding out resolutely. There's some cav in there. I mean, we're going to leave a mark, even if the enemy takes us out here. We're going to continue to experiment with different mods. Mods are one of the things that make Bannerlord great. The bottom line is the vanilla version of Bannerlord is fairly flawed. Some things are dramatically flawed, like the diplomacy. When I start a new campaign at some point, I'm probably going to try the diplomacy mod. I've heard good things about it. If you have suggestions for mods you want to either see me try or you think I should be using for a campaign, please put them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. The other thing too is, at least in the short term, I'm not going to use any mod that I have to restart a campaign over. I've got this very long played campaign, of course, that's getting extremely difficult, but I'm really enjoying that difficulty, and at least for the time being, I'm kind of fixated on finishing out that campaign, win or lose. But I would like to know, if it's Eagles Rising, I think is one that a lot of people suggest. If you have mods that you think are indispensable, that I need to try, please list them in the comments. I'm curious to see, what you guys think. We're going to continue this series, this Illuminated Chaos series, just because I think it's interesting, this reinforcement mod. At this stage, I would say the verdict is still out. I am leaning towards not playing with it just because there are random effects that are sometimes bad. But I think once the creators of this sort of fine-tune it, it'll be an automatic mod that you need to load. I just think the fact that enemies can join the battle the same way that you can join other battles that are going in progress is going to be an indispensable mod for the future. That is if Tail Worlds, of course, doesn't add it to the vanilla game. So anyways, thanks again for watching to this stage, fellas. I appreciate you guys. I mean, without you guys, again, I'm just some old crusty guy sitting in his study mumbling into a mic. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for all the subscribers and comments over the last 6 months. It's been fun to do this, and I will see you guys next time.